as well. Some organizations are barely capable of a walk approach to the technology deployment. I mean, they can jog a little, but they're not up to marathons yet. Other organizations have been doing half marathons and marathons, to use that metaphor a little bit, regularly. And so new technology, new adoption is almost expected. So I think make sure you have a pace in mind. Make sure you have executive buy-in, executive leadership. We like to have an executive sponsor on any project that's involving big dollars, big investment in IT, because we need someone at the top to basically be setting the tone, creating the message, ensuring resource availability. So executive sponsorship is another key to ensuring success of these rollouts. And then I would say prioritization. At the end of the day, you could sit down and look at probably a dozen different IT initiatives. We do that all the time. We come into a company, we take a look at how they're doing, and there's a dozen IT initiatives that fall out of where they are today. Well, now you've got to prioritize those and decide how much money we're going to spend, in what order are we going to do this, who's going to be in charge of each of these deployments. So organizing, strategizing, and prioritizing are pretty important so that this feels manageable.
Excellent, thank you. And I think that is a wonderful note to close on. We are getting to the end of our presentation today, so I just want to thank all three of you for joining us, and we have a few minutes left to address some of the questions that have come in. Remember, if we don't get to your question today, we will follow up with you via email to get you the information that you need. So our first one is for Jason. You were talking about how technology can help break down walls between departments. Can you provide some more examples of that?
Good question. Yes, sure. I mentioned project teams and marketing teams earlier, but you can find tech breaking down walls all over. Anywhere one team is dependent on another for something, even if it's small, is an opportunity for tech to improve that efficiency. Like if employee in details or bios, those are helpful and needed in HR, but they're also used to help win new business. And many times, marketing doesn't have those bios, or they're not kept up to date. They need to be tied to headshots. There's an opportunity for tech to help there. We're seeing an increase in the different people in the different departments collaborating on active projects as well as on bids for new business. I really liked Denise mentioned earlier the client portal project that's collecting details and data across all sorts of departments. And some of those teams may not have been part of the new business process before, but now we're combining all that data or she's combining that data and displaying it for clients, and we're hearing that across the industry. So finding ways to sync that data, needs to be accessible, shared, synced. Those are all opportunities for tech to break down barriers. So I think you're really going to see it all over.
Excellent. Thank you so much. The next question says, I want to hear more about how Denise made the case for digital asset management at her organization. What kind of data did she use to prove value or ROI?
That's a good question, and I actually have a pretty funny answer for this, because I of course provided all of the traditional data that you would want when you're proposing something new to leadership. The price proposal, the quantity of data that's going over all of our servers right now. But the thing that sold it was I actually took a video recording of my screen from home and how long it took for all of the thumbnails to load over the VPN, just so I could see just a tiny little image on the screen of what the image looked like. So, I think it was between 8 and 10 minutes for a folder to load. And after that, it was sold. Everybody knew that we needed something different, something a little that worked better from a hybrid situation.
Sounds very effective. Nice work there. I think we have a time for one more question. So this one, Christian, is for you. You had briefly mentioned the importance of providing data to guys in the field. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I think that construction workers, probably older generation of construction workers, were much more about getting the work done. They had an intuitive feel for how well they were performing the work. There was a little bit of better communication between the office and field about where we're at with cost. Today, we've got more tech-savvy workers in the field. They're not maybe ready for the IT department, but they're certainly comfortable with a tablet or a smartphone. And if they're managing self-performed work, they want to know, how are we doing today? How did we do today? And that was never available in the past. So I think giving guys in the field access to information about their performance is tremendously valuable, because that helps them gauge whether they need more equipment, whether they need another apprentice or a journeyman or additional workers, whether they're getting slowed down because of availability of material or conflict with other trades. So the productivity information is probably key to providing out to the field. But why not also give them the ability to requisition material if they need it, the ability to check on the status of POs, access to the current drawing set so they're not building off of the incorrect version of a drawing. RFI responses. There's so much data that the guys and gals in the field need access to, that if you're not currently deployed that way, you have to get moving in that direction, because the field will benefit immensely.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That brings us to the close of today's webinar. A big thank you to our panelists today. And we also want to thank all of you, our audience members, for listening in on the conversation. Today's webinar will be available on demand. You'll receive an email with a link so you can rewatch. Have a great day, everyone.